Hello there and welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. My name is Thomas Connors, and you may have noticed that the Alamo Drafthouse and Wonder Woman are back in the news again. Just before the film opened, it was announced by the Alamo Drafthouse that they were going to do a women's-only screening of Wonder Woman, and a few of their other locations picked up on this, as well as a few other theaters. Well, first, let me play you part of an interview that BeyondDaBliz and I did with Mundane Matt just before the film opened up way back at the end of May. Listen to this first, and then we'll get into the rest after.
So, hello, Mundane Matt. How's everything going today?
It's going well. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. How about you, Tom?
Hanging in there.
Hanging in there. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, of course, I'm going to let Tom give his thoughts in a minute, but of course, since we have a special guest here, Mundane Matt, we'll let him go first. So, Matt, before we get into some of the details with the whole Alamo Drafthouse debacle, just give me your overviews of what you feel of the situation, you know, from the standpoint of the theater itself, how some people on the left responded to it, some people on the right responded to it, and just kind of your thoughts as well.
Well, I think people need to realize is that I've spent around 10 years or so of my life working in movie theaters, managing movie theaters, not only in San Diego at a drive-in, but also in Los Angeles at a second-run discount theater, which is where the name $3 Theater comes from. So I've got a lot of experience in that field, and I'm generally on board with everything the Alamo Drafthouse does because they're trying to protect the sanctimony of cinema. You know, their anti-texting policies, the fact that they really showcase independent films, and they make it feel like this cinema-goer's delight. But this woman-only screening of Wonder Woman, it feels nothing more than just PR BS, because legally speaking, it probably cannot be done in Texas and or New York. It's entirely possible that the situation is borderline constitutional rights violation because it's considered a public accommodation, and therefore you cannot discriminate based on someone's gender, and that's effectively what they're doing. Not only that, it's not just the women-only screening, it's the women-only workers, and that to me feels extremely sexist because they're telling male employees they can't work that night because of this reason. Then that is, I think, very much a constitutional rights violation. You're not hearing a peep out of it from the right, outside of maybe Jack Posobiec, who is the guy who was behind the dump Star Wars hashtag from a few months ago and is an outright loony, in my opinion. This is a guy who got kind of internet famous by running a Game of Thrones blog. Then he positioned it over to talking about politics. Then he jumped on the Donald Trump train, like hardcore. He called himself like some special coordinator for some pro-Trump organization, whatever. Then back in December, before Rogue One came out, he started this hashtag dump Star Wars because he wanted to complain about the writers of the movies being anti-Trump. And then somewhere in his deluded mind, he came up with this theory that they had in fact reshot the movie to add in anti-Trump scenes, which
Right.
Nope, that didn't happen. But he kept running with it. And now he's back trying to once again regain favor for himself in terms of the hard-lined right-wingers out there by filing actually a civil rights complaint against the theater in Austin. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with that. But the way that the left-leaning media, the movie bloggers, are covering this, that it's no big deal, it's not illegal, there's nothing wrong with it, I think that's wrong. I think, you know, in an age where people are pushing more and more for segregation, we should be doing more to argue against that a shared combined experience is nothing to scoff at, especially when it's something like movies. Because movies, in my opinion, like the great equalizer. Everyone walks into a dark cinema, you sit down, you all watch the same story, you all get it in the same exact fashion, and it's something that we all can relate to, especially if you love movies. So I think the whole idea is ridiculously stupid. I've called the Alamo Drafthouse in New York City. They didn't tell me that I couldn't buy tickets if I was going to go.
They couldn't give you a straight answer, because I remember that video you made on $3 Theater where you were saying that they were basically dancing around it from what I was hearing. Is that correct? Yeah. They didn't really want to say it definitively?
They legally cannot say it. But yeah, they were dancing around the concept of it. But there's a guy by the name of Stephen Miller who bought a ticket and is planning on attending the screening next week. And the Alamo Drafthouse in New York actually sent him a tweet saying, "Hope you enjoy the screening." So that's their way of basically trying to get around it legally. Because it's a public event. It's a public screening. Anyone can go. And to discriminate against somebody based on their gender is a civil rights violation. I don't think the Alamo thought that through.
I don't think they thought it through at all. But I wanted to give the mic over to you, Tom, and I wanted to get some of your thoughts on the whole debacle, what you feel about the whole Animal Drafthouse issue. Of course, I'll give my thoughts later on in the discussion.
Basically, I kind of felt the same way about it Matt brought up here, and that's why I latched on to the way he was reporting it, because it made sense to me in a sense that there's always been men's-only groups and men's-only clubs, but that being said, those are always private organizations, and like Matt brought up is, you know, this is not a private event. This is a public event, and I think that's what most people are missing the point of, and and regardless of how many complaining about this, and it's really kind of a crybaby scenario, and in a way it kind of is. I get that part of it. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of people that I respect and love as far as, you know, actors and other members of the filmmaking community who have kind of spoke out on the other end of this, and I'm like, I just don't think they're seeing the real picture here, especially the segregation portion of it, and how so many people have fought for years and years and years, not only just in this world, but especially in the film industry, for both men and women to be treated equal, let alone, you know, racial situations and all that. I mean, this all goes and stems from the same place, if you ask me, and it's like, if anything, like you pointed out, I don't think anything's going to come of it, because I think the Alamo Drafthouse knows that if they were to deny anybody access, it was going to cause some legal issues. So I have a feeling I think it's going to go without a hitch.
What's funny is a lot of people have been trying to argue against that, like, no, there's no.
There's not going to be any issues. You don't know what you're talking about. Like that's how I kind of modify the naysayers.
No, a lot of it is like that. It is, and you know, I used to manage a theater. I know the laws in this case. Like, if someone is inside there and they're being disruptive, you can throw them out.
Right. They're not following the rules. Or,
but if you have it open to the public, I can't stop somebody from buying a ticket. You know, I can't. I legally cannot. It's a public thing. Yeah, we're private property, but it's a public show. And so there's stuff there that's crazy. But back to your point, though, about the people in Hollywood that are kind of talking about this, where people are just afraid to go against the grain. They are afraid to disagree with something because it might actually end in them being blacklisted. And we're kind of in a weird time now. We're in this reverse McCarthyism, where if you don't have the right opinion, or if you associate with the wrong person, which it's not even reverse McCarthyism, it's McCarthyism.
Yeah, it's just McCarthyism. That's what a lot of people don't understand that people keep saying, oh, this is reverse sexism, this is reverse racism. You know, it just is what it is. There's no such thing as reverse. It's just, it is what it is by definition. Like, for instance, one of the analogies I like to give to people when they try to come at me saying, racism doesn't exist when it comes to black people because I'm black, and people say, oh, you can't be racist, and I'm saying, well, if I murder somebody and he's white, does that make it reverse murder? No, it's just murder. It's the same thing if I'm racist towards another person. It's just racism. And of course, with here, it's like you said, it's McCarthyism. It's this witch hunt mentality of, if you don't comply with the groupthink, we got to take you out.
It's that double negative. If it doesn't fit their narrative, like you said, then they're not going to sit there and change their point of view or even apologize. To where I'm the type of person where even if I'm found to be wrong, and I'm sure you know this very well, Beyond, if I'm found to be wrong, I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me know the truth. I mean, of course, I'd rather somebody come at it and let me know like a friend, but I mean, you made a good point in your videos, Matt, and that's why we asked you on the show, was specifically to talk about this subject and a couple other things, because you did such a great video on the whole subject and pointed out a lot of things that some people hadn't really brought up before or thought about. And especially the one thing is if they would have just done this as a private event, as a charity function, there wouldn't be an issue. They can invite whoever they want, and there's nothing the law can do. But now they back themselves into a corner, because since they're making it an open event to the public, but at the same time specifically denying entry of somebody due to their sex or whatever sex that they identify with, evidently in this case because of some of these tweets, then basically they're breaking the law. So, I mean, I guess we'll have to see how this goes.
I don't understand it, but it is what it is. Where can people find you, Matt, on the internet?
YouTube.com/Mundane Matt, or I think YouTube.com/3Buck Theater.
And you also are on the Midnight's Edge group quite a bit, posting as well and chit-chatting with everybody.
Yeah, I'm on there yelling at people usually, so you guys can find me on there. I do gotta run, so
talk to you later, man.
Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.
So, of course, it's been a while since then, being August now, and that was, of course, the very end of May, beginning of June, when Wonder Woman came out. It seems like Steven's screening went without a hitch, and he got to see the movie no problem, and nobody dumped popcorn or soda on him. It turns out that we were kind of right. It was illegal for the Alamo Drafthouse and any other theaters involved with this incident to have women-only screenings that weren't private screenings. So, it seems that the Drafthouse is trying to settle this. I guess they're offering DVDs and some other bullshit. Unfortunately, this is just one of those situations where it just blew up in their face, and they should have seen it coming from the start, and they should have handled this better. They should have got not only the studio involved, but they should have gotten, you know, like I said before, some women's organization or a charity or something to make it a private event to where it wouldn't have been such a big damn deal. You know, they could have even made it this whole big thing like buy your mom tickets to Wonder Woman for Mother's Day and support this charity. That kind of a thing. Buy it for your sister, buy it for your wife, etc., etc. And it could have been this whole thing that they planned perfectly, and have been not only great to promote Wonder Woman, but promote a woman's charity to go along with it, basically. But instead, they went and did this the way they did it. Now they're fucked. They went and screwed themselves, and they're backed into a corner. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think they're going to be able to manage to settle this? Little bit of a pickle. It's clusterfuck, that's for sure. It was just stupidity from the start. That was my opinion back then, and that's my opinion now. I want to thank Mundane Matt again for helping us out with that a while back, and now that we've gotten to do this follow-up to it, I'm glad to share that with you and speak to you now that we have a little bit of a, not so much conclusion, but a movement on this story since way back in May when it first originated. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below, and thanks for joining me here at Midnight's Edge After Dark.
If you like this video, then please hit that subscribe button. Due to recent changes made by YouTube, we also encourage all of our subscribers, both new and old, to please hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button as well, so you will be notified when new videos are uploaded. Be sure to check back for news and analysis of the happenings and corporate politics behind the scenes of your favorite genre movies, as well as explorations of your favorite characters and their backgrounds and context here at Midnight's Edge After Dark.